Okay. Oh, welcome, welcome. Um, I just wanted to apologize for not being up to snuff. I usually love to get dolled up for you ladies on these calls, and I'm feeling a little under the weather. But even though I was kind of having that feeling of like, oh, I just need to take a nap, I noticed all day today that I was looking forward to this call, partially because of I just love connecting with you ladies. There's something about hearing your voices and seeing your faces that is like deeply nourishing to me. Like I feel like more connected to my mission and my vision and my center when I'm connecting with all of you. So thank you. And of course, I'm also excited for this topic. Sometimes women, most of the time when women speak at Fem Talks, they report awesome, successful things to me. Women report that they'll make, anywhere from 2,000 to upwards of, 20 or 30,000 in subsequent sales each time they speak at my events. And there are also women who sometimes their offer just kind of flops and they don't really get any signups, or they get far fewer than they were expecting. And so I think one of the things that really makes the difference is not only speaking to the logical mind, and like there are certain things that you do want to communicate, and that's important. So to have that as part of the ingredient of like hitting on the formula, I guess, or the template of what works. And the other piece of that is like, were you communicating in a way, in like this visionary way, that the room was like leaning in and really like feeling what was in it for them, and really feeling like, yes, like this is a natural next step. I want to sign up for you and I want to work deeply with you. So I feel like Susan is so great at really both of those ingredients, the logical, but I think her strongest, like most mama juju ingredient really is that the heart and the transmission, and just tying that to like a divine visionary message. So those are my words, not hers, but that's just how I see you, Susan. You're so amazing. And so today we're here, the little mini workshop that you're going to get, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A, is called How to Speak from Your Soul, Win Their Hearts, and Naturally Sell from the Stage. Susan Kerby is a soulful master trainer, and she's also the founder of Speak and Shine Your Light. So we're just going to blow Susan some virtual kisses and mwah, mwah, mwah. I'm going to pass the talking stick to you, Susan. Thank you so much for being here.
Jessica, thank you. Thank you. And I want to start with just really being with each of you and saying hello. And Lori, it's great to see you. April, great to get to know you. And our Briada and Milena on the calls. I just really appreciate you. And I know there's other women who'll listen later. I mostly want you to hear what I'm about to say as if I'm really talking to you. And I put the quote in the Zoom chat just because it's that powerful. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us. It is in everyone. And we let our own light shine. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That's Marianne Williamson. And I know it's a quote many of us have heard and many of us have loved, but it really is about you, and it's true. So I want to welcome you to where you're how to speak from the soul and win their hearts and naturally sell from stage. And it really is in that ingredient of letting your light shine. And we'll talk more about that. But first, I really want to thank Jessica for shining your light for so many women. I know there was just a moment in time where Jessica went, oh, I don't know, maybe I should do this thing. You know, like we all have that moment in time where you're like, I don't know, I have this vision, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And somewhere along the line, you became Femme Talks, and people are like, wow, I get to be with Jessica Hadari, and I'm welcome to her stage. And I've made so many, personally, so many deep connections with women and clients actually through Femme Talks. And had you said no to shining your light, we wouldn't have that available to us, and the sisterhood of community that you so yummily put together, we would be missing. So thank you for stepping into your light and seeing the light in all of us so that we have a stage for ourselves as well, because that's what's even more fun. We all get to shine together. And really, for each of you here on the call and anybody who's listening, I really do believe in each and every one of us as a gift from God. Like, where else would we be coming from, and how else could this be? But it's not everybody who's willing to step into that gift and really give of themselves. It's easier, people say, oh, I want to make my 6 figures, I want to do all this. And it's like, go get a job. You can more easily make a 6 figures if you get a 6-figure income. That's what's guaranteed. But mostly what I find is we're not cut out for that. At least I was never. I'm really a bad employee. I do not belong underneath anybody else's supervision. I just have my own thing I'm supposed to do. And I feel like that's, who Jessica attracts, and who you all have stepped into being is who you're called to be. And I know it's not so easy to answer that call. It's actually kind of requires us to be in the uncomfort zone of life, which I actually find there's more grace and ease when you step out of what most people would call the comfort zone, but it's like still a little scary. And I just appreciate each of you for having that audacity to say, I'm in. This is my life, and I'm going for it and enjoying the fun, the wild ride as it goes. So I hope to really give you everything I can today that'll help you make it less of a wild ride and more of just like, wee, this is fun. And Jessica shared a little about myself, but I'd love to tell you why I'm really so passionate about people getting to shine their life, and women in particular. I do have a great life, and you can tell I have a fun home. I love lots of color around me. I keep, the Mary, she's called the Virgin Queen, kind of up over my shoulder, and I love the angels around me. And my husband has a little private plane, and he's been flying me around to my events, which was the vision I had when I was first dating my husband back in 1984 when we met, or actually I guess we started really dating in 88. We knew each other in 84, and that was it. But I remember being in an event where you dream, you come up with, what do I want to do with my life? And I said, well, pick Russ or not Russ, that's like a few weeks out. And then like 5-10 years out, it was Russ will be flying me around to all my events. And when it actually started coming true, I was like, whoa, this is what I said I was going to have happen. It's happening. Like that piece of when we finally kind of get out of I had been in a business with my husband for years. In fact, I still have that business. It's called Maestro Pedestals. We do pedestals for sculpture. And I've done it since 1988. And we're like pedestals.com. We've been around, but it wasn't, I always say I got the business because I married my husband, not because it called to me. It wasn't really my job. It wasn't really where I belonged. And at best, it was kind of doing glorified boxes. And, we have some great pedestals around, some great art and all of that. But when I got to see what I was really doing to make my own soul happy, I had to call it something else. And on our website now, you'll see that we elevate, illuminate, and awaken the soul of sculpture. And once I could start to get my words into it, then I'm like, okay, I can live with this for a while. And what was funny is I always knew I was meant to speak. I always came alive on the stage. I was a seminar leader for Landmark for 10 years. But I have to say, I never thought I really had anything to say. I always thought somebody else had to give me their manual. I'll do whatever they tell me to do. And I, did my best being, which wasn't very present, and In fact, as a seminar leader, even my other seminar leader friends would say, Susan, you can do anything. It's who you're being that's the issue. And I'm like, this is the best being I got. I can't do any, like, I didn't know how to undo doing being. Like, I never could get access to the being part. And I did really well. I was a designated seminar leader, and I couldn't stand there anymore saying you can have anything you want in life except for, well, being thin, being really happy, having money, like all the things that I kind of grappled with because I wasn't really being myself. And when I completed leading the seminars for Landmark in 2000, I ended up on a little spiritual journey unbeknownst to me because I went as a tourist. My father-in-law offered to pay my way to go to Bosnia to see where the Virgin Mary had been appearing on a daily basis and was still appearing, to a place called Medjugorje. And I'm like, yeah, sign me up. I'll go. Like, when else when am I going to go to Bosnia? I said, I don't know when to stand, sit, kneel, pray. And pretty much I thought, God was a good bedtime story. So I wasn't really going to Medjugorje looking for God, like I wouldn't have gone to the North Pole looking for Santa. But that's why in the book I'm writing, I call it God Believes in Us. I was called by God I said did not exist. Because I got that there's way more going on than I ever thought before. And, fast forward 10 years later, I got to go back when I wanted to go back. And I said, it was really about being vulnerable. The message I got when I kneeled in front of Christ and I heard a voice, I heard, you be vulnerable, I'll keep you safe. And that really has become my message for my speakers. And that's what I love doing now. And so that's what I'm watching when we get to do who we really are and actually give access to that. So I'm excited to give you some access to how to be who you are, because it was the mystery for me for so long. So if you look at that, the first little teaching point I would have in the being who you are is, I guess I have a question for you, because I can actually see April and Lori get to raise their hands and participate a bit, but I'm curious, when you're on stage, do you feel more yourself or more like you're in presentation mode? So if you feel more yourself, just raise one hand. And then if you feel like you kind of have to grapple with the presentation mode thing, you can raise the other hand. I can't even tell how it goes. So we can do, it's 50-50 from Jessica. Yeah. And you can actually, we can type in the message. So you can tell me on the message, but it's that piece of, yes, I really want to be myself. And how do I get to do that? And so the thing I've found is what I call it honoring God's gifts. And there's a piece I do with people where we get to really what your virtues are, what's meaningful to you, what has you living outside the comfort zone. There's actually some virtues that make you angry if they're not being true, if they're being violated or missing, or they make you, give you goosebumps when they're present. And when we find out what those words are, you start to get into your most true self. So I can't do that process in 30 minutes with you on the call, but I can tell you that piece of looking at those areas in life that your culture has not gotten in on, getting you to behave in a nice way. So the times when you're like enraged way beyond your normal, like, it's not politically correct to be as mad as you get when you get whatever that madness is, when you're like, no. So when those moments happen, it's because you're committed to something really beautiful that's being violated. So what I ask you to do is not be like, I'm a spiritual person. What's wrong with me? I shouldn't be having this reaction to life. How could I be this way? But look and see what virtue or what value is being violated that has you be that upset. And then note that and keep track of those, because that's going to be giving you access to what you really care about. And it's really hidden from our view, and we don't really want to notice it because it has us be uncomfortable. But you're already going to go there anyway in these moments. And then there's the times when you cry when you're watching a movie or reading a book or reading a Hallmark card or watching American Idol, or I cry at very many weird things. But they're all because my biggest virtue I've found is belonging. And when people kind of find that they belong and they thought they were on the outside and nobody noticed them and they're all part of it, and it just gives me goosebumps even now talking about it. And it's that piece of why I love that each and every quote with Marianne Williamson is because we all belong. And when people find that little spark, I'm moved. So for you, you want to look and see what gives you goosebumps and what causes you rage. Because what's present when you're getting your goosebumps is the same thing that's probably absent or violated when you're enraged. So when we get to work together further, if that ever gets to happen, I'll take you through this whole process. It's one of the things I do in the first day of my Speak and Shine Your Light events, where I just completed in Portland. We did a 3-day event up there, and there were 40 women there, and each of them got to speak who they are and their virtues. And more than the surprises, it's not from here, and it is from here. But we're the ones, we can't tell whether we're here or here. I don't know if you've ever kind of known that how do you get from here to here is really hard. But when you say it to the community, they can tell you whether you're in your heart or you're not. And so it's really interesting. You get this resounding, or like there's this like a visceral, yeah, like you can't get everyone in unison to say the same thing if you wanted them to. But when the heart's pulled, they're all like, and so we know we're in track. So that's one of those things, why I call it a gift of honoring those God-given gifts, is it's what you came to this world committed to. And when you leak it out, when you let it out, the world sees you. And it really is that access of how I've gotten to be more myself and less my presentation mode. So that's the biggest secret, is listening for those things you care about. My next secret is really in that area of everything in your life belongs. I don't know about you, but every client I've worked with, and therefore I assert most of us, have something we think nobody wants to know about, or I'd be ashamed to share, or is really not the thing anybody should know. And for me, that part about when I go to Medjugorje and Jesus talks to me, it's a little weird. So it's like, and then there's the people go, well, could you be more general about other all beings? I'm like, yeah, I have Buddha at the fish pond, Kuan Yin at the front door, but Jesus is who I'm hearing. So I'm just telling you, so there's these pieces like, my speakers don't want to know that. And it's like, yeah, they do. My speakers do want to know that. And I was in the middle of an argument with God where I'm like, really, speaker training is your big idea? And what I heard was, I'll bring you my messengers, you have them be good. Like, okay. But I didn't think anybody needed to know that. And then I started to find out, no, my people want to know that I was given that task, that I was asked to do that. So I have one client who's, she came to me being a business entrepreneur woman. She was actually, really great at getting entrepreneurial spirits together. And I was like, great, well, how do you get your clients now? Because she was putting together a talk. She goes, well, I also give psychic readings. And when I do a psychic reading, then they kind of end up as my business client because I see what they can do for their business. I'm like, then why are we making this hard? Why aren't you just out there offering your psychic readings? And then when they come in, you can move them into your business clients. So just sell them a $97 psychic reading. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're already doing what's like, let them know that about you. Lead with that. And she's like, oh, okay. Because, you don't think the business world wants to know about the psychic reading world. That's like this other thing she was doing. And then when I was like, well, where did you get your business experience? She's like, well, I've been in business since I was in my 20s. I'm like, really? What were you doing? Well, and then she's kind of like, that part about you don't really want to tell people. And she goes, well, I actually ran the largest Madam business in all of Maine, out of college. And it's how I put myself through college. She goes, I started out working and I realized I saw where the money was being made, and I just started running the business, and I got a lot of business skills doing that. And she's like, but I can't tell people that. I'm like, oh, yes, you can. This is really cool. Like, I would want to know that about you. And she had the last job she'd had before she quit her job was working at Stanford doing some sort of organizing some sort of a brain cell organization. So I'm like, oh yeah, if you have that at the end, you can certainly say this stuff from the beginning, because it makes you way more accessible. And what I've shared in Portland just recently that people kind of went, oh, is your soul almost always speaks in a whisper. And it almost always is an aside, like, nobody needs to know this. And that's the part where I'm listening when I'm working with my clients, when they say that part about, well, I'm like, oh yeah. Now I'm interested. What do you got going on? Because it's that piece of our soul that we so want to protect, and it deserves being protected. And it's been protected well for a long time. But now it's time you are being asked to speak and shine your light. And those are the things you want to bring out. Even people have been really, really, really successful, like Eva Gregory. I don't know if you've met Eva yet, but she's where spirituality and practicality merge. And she said, help, Susan, I've got a talk coming up. I need your help. I'm like, great, I can help you with that. Send me your webinars and I'll help you make it into a talk. And her webinars were all practicality. There was no spirituality at all, zero in the webinar. I'm like, Eva, if your people don't know you channel and you get direct quotes from beings that are talking to you, your people won't even want to work with you. Like, the people who want to work with somebody who's channeling won't work with the person who's just giving you business advice, because I could get that from this guy, this person, or that person. But when you say, well, I got this whole theos behind me, I get information, I'm like, you're my girl, because I need somebody who has way more information than the average bear. And she was like, oh my God, you are the answer to my prayers. Thank you. And, she got to deliver her soul as well as her message. And it wasn't, I go, yeah, you don't lead with God. You don't start out with that, but you don't hide it. You don't kick it to the curb either. You bring all of you. So those are really my two biggest things, are to honor your God-given gifts, and that every part of you belongs. And that if you ever think you need to leave something out, I encourage you to risk it and see how it goes. And as I heard back in Medjugorje, you be vulnerable and I'll keep you safe. And how I tested that out was one little bit of vulnerability at a time. So I encourage you to do the same, because I realized those words weren't just for me. That we are all being invited to be our vulnerable selves and to trust that the universe is here designed to keep us safe. And as Marianne Williamson said, when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So the more we shine our light, the more light shines around us. And those are my secrets. I can go on, but I also don't want to keep going on and on and on without hearing from you. So those are how you shine your light. And I'm happy to teach my 10 steps. It's actually pretty quick, but I know we don't have everybody in visual. So we want to go with the 10 steps. Okay. So this is the part where the last part is called Enchanted Play. Okay. So I know we have Jessica and Lori and April that I get to see. And my dear friends, who do we have on our call? We have Riata and Malena. And I'm going to ask you to play even though you can't see me. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and then you're just going to have to watch the video later to get all the fun little hand movements. And actually on my website at speakandShineYourLight.com, you'll see me with little pictures doing all these funny little things. So if you can't remember, you'll go to the website and you'll go, oh, I remember what that is. Okay, so this is the game. So you want to know how to craft a talk that has people saying, I want that at the end of it? That's what this is. Okay, so I'm going to ask you not to take your notes. You can listen to the recording later, but I want you to have your hands free and looking up. So play. All right, so the number 1. So you put your index finger up. And now you point it to your right eye and you go, the first thing you do is connect. So you connect with your audience. This isn't scan the audience. This is look soul to soul, eye to eye, heart to heart, and connect. So before you ever open your mouth, you connect. Number 2, so you put like a little peace sign up. So you go 2. And number 2, you start with either 2 questions or a quote. So you know how the little quote, you make those little air quotes. So you take your little peace sign and turn it into an air quote. So it's 2 questions or a quote. So today I started with Marianne Williamson's quote after I connected with you. And you start with those questions. So they're not random quotes or random questions. They're about the thing you're talking about. Notice it talked about shining your light. Wow, wasn't that awesome? Okay, so then 3. So you make you just hold your pinky and your thumb together and you make a little 3. And it looks like a W. When you hold your fingers apart, it's a W. And then what you do is you welcome them to the name of your talk. So we would welcome you to How to Speak from Your Soul, Win Their Hearts, and Naturally Sell from Stage. Would be the next piece you would do after you ask your 2 questions or your quote. Now you do 2 peace signs for 4. With 2 peace signs, you say, I'm going to acknowledge my host. I send peace and love to my host, and acknowledge my audience. Send peace and love to my audience. So when we have this, we go, oh, so it's acknowledge the host, acknowledge the audience. And as my husband thinks, he thinks this looks more like an A when you turn your fingers upside down. It's kind of more the gangster version of acknowledge, where you acknowledge the host, acknowledge the audience. So either way, you can do it either the 60s peace and love or the gangsta, acknowledge the host, acknowledge the audience. Okay, so these are little things to how do you remember how to have a talk like this, okay? So after you've acknowledged the host, acknowledged the audience, you go, ooh, ooh, you raise your hand. You go up to, just put all 5 fingers up like you really wanted to be called on. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Can I tell you why I'm so passionate about the subject I'm about to talk about? And everyone's like, yes. You know how some people say, we're going to be together for a little bit. I'd like to tell you my history. Okay, if you must. But if you say, can I tell you why I'm so passionate? Yes, I want to know why you're so passionate. So the secret is all the way along, we're getting people to say, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want to hear. Okay, so now you've told them why you are so passionate about this. And then you tell them, I'm going to give you everything I can in the time we have allowed. So you put your left hand with your thumb up, like a thumbs up. I'm going to give you the best stuff I have in the time we have allowed. And now your free hand, you kind of wave like, no, don't worry. And you say, but for those of you who know you want more, don't worry. I'm going to let you know how we can work together further. So it's not for the people who aren't worried. Those people who don't think they want any more from you, you are not talking to them. I'm going to give you everything I can. That's for everybody. And for those of you who know you want more, don't worry. I'm going to let you know how we can work together further. So that's coming. Then, I skipped this step as I was talking to you, but I think you know it. And it's step number 7. So right now you just kind of make an L with your right hand, your thumb and your forefinger. And what I understand in Chinese, that's how you count to 7. Somehow you end up here and this becomes a 7. All I'm really wanting to do is now flip that over and make it look like a 7. And then you put it on your heart. And you take these other 5 fingers you have remaining on your left hand and you cover your heart with that. So now you have 7 fingers in your heart, and this is your core message. This is your heart's message. It's what's so meaningful to you. You are doing this job. You are answering this call because it's that meaningful to you. And it's so meaningful to the people listening to you. If they didn't believe it, they wouldn't be buying from you. So my message is, when I shine my light, my people find me. And if I didn't believe when I shine my light, my people would find me, I wouldn't do what I do. And if you didn't believe when you shine your light, your people will find you, you wouldn't pay me to work with me. So, and it's just a message that everybody's like, yeah, I like that. So that's number 7. And then number 8, you become a traffic cop. So we didn't get to this part, so we're going to do this here. You would say, imagine you've been shining your light for a year now. what would that look like? Oh my goodness, I'm speaking in front of so many stages. I'm doing all this, how fabulous life is. And where are you now? So this is that 4 fingers that, your thumb just tucks in on both. You lean over to the left and you go, imagine you were living this fabulous life of my core message, whichever your core message is. And you bring out the highlights first, the how could it be, how fabulous it is. And then no matter where they are now, it's never as high as they imagine their future. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on how it sucks to be you right now when it's just already not the future you visioned. So I love leading with the future and then just noting that where you are now, there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And you want to know what closes that gap? That's number 9. Okay, so you take your right hand and make a big O with all your fingers, like you're going to look through a spyglass. Only you're going to cup it over your mouth, and you're going to take your other hand and tuck your thumb in, so you have 4 fingers up, and you're going to cup it around the other O, and you're going to tell people your secrets. It's a 9. It makes a 9, and you go, I have some secrets. Do you want to know my secrets on how you get from where you are now to where you want to be? April's laughing. I really appreciate that. So here you go. So you have your secrets, and then after you tell them your secrets, what do? You have an offer. I have an offer. It's the best part. So you just take both hands, 5 fingers flashing. Yay, I have an offer. It's so exciting. Wait, there's more. So those are the 10 steps to I want that, which I love because it's always about each step is saying, I want that. I read the Marianne Williamson quote, I want that.
I have to cut in for a second here, Susan,
yes,
because you've spoken at FemTalk several times in this last year. So you spoke twice in the last 12-month cycle.
Yes.
And you made around $60,000 in subsequent sales.
Yeah.
So I meant to say that earlier, but it's worth saying, like, this stuff works.
Right.
Do it.
And I appreciate the playfulness, and I'm committed. So my virtues are honor, belonging, and enchanted play. And the enchanted play for me is like, it's got to be fun and memorable, or kind of why bother? So that's that piece for me of, I was standing outside of I was supposed to go give a 12-minute talk, and I needed to do it perfectly because people were getting out their like templates to follow me. I'm like, how am I going to remember what I need to say? And I made this little thing up for me to know where I was. And then my people the next week or so, when I had all those people who had signed up to work with me, came to me like, how do you remember this? And I always find God funny because they don't just go, wow, that's really great. They go, how do you remember this? I'm like, how do I remember this? They're like, yeah, how do you remember this? I'm like, oh, you really want to know how I remember this? And then I just started kind of sheepishly doing these little goofy things. And they're like, this is the best thing. I'm like, it is? You want to know this? This is that part of when I go, the soul doesn't really want to reveal how goofy and stupid they are when they're doing little hand signals. But now it's become like, so like, oh, that's the best. And as Jessica said, it makes you thousands and thousands of dollars when you lead from there, because it's that piece of sharing your heart with people and leading them where you're wanting them to go. But the thing to really remember is it's where they're wanting to go, or they wouldn't be on the call, or they wouldn't be in the seminar, or they wouldn't be listening to you. So the last of my big secrets is your people really want you to be good at selling them the solution to their problem. So that whole making your offer is the only thing that really makes a difference. Everything else is good.
I love that piece. I love that piece. It's a mindset and a belief that people want you to succeed. They want what you like. They're already there because they're interested in your talk, and like
they're hoping you actually are the answer to their problems. you know, we're thinking, oh, they don't want me to sell to them. And truthfully, they're like, really, I've been to so many places. I'm not even sure it's worth being here, but I'm really hoping you're different than the others, or I'm hoping something offers, or they've never been anywhere and this somehow they just got called here, or we don't know, but they're there wanting what you're offering. So those are my little secrets of how to speak from your soul, win their hearts, and naturally sell from stage. And Bonnie, can I share one little success story with Bonnie Dysinger? Some of you may know her because she's in the Femme Talks community. The very first Femme Talks, in fact, she ever came to, she heard me speak, came and sat next to me, and she goes, I think I came to meet you. I'm like, fabulous. I was told you're coming, you know. And she does training on esoteric healing. And she has a whole bunch of letters after her name that she thinks is all important. And I'm like, we have no idea what you do. I don't even know what you're talking about. She goes, that's the point. I need to be able to speak in a way that people understand exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, okay. And so she came to one of my year-long programs and she did the 5-day immersion with us. And she goes, I don't really want to make money. I'm like, no, you really want to sell from the stage? She goes, I don't know that I'll really sell from stage. It's not really about the money. I'm like, yes, but that's how the world all goes around. She goes, yeah, but it's not really that important to me. I'm like, she goes, I know if I'm communicating what I meant to communicate, the money will happen. I'm like, okay. And probably by the end of this week, you'll be making offers that make you money. She's like, okay. And Friday after our week, she had a speaking gig already lined up. So she left early, went there, put in all the changes that she'd learned from me, got there, and she goes, don't be mad at me, Susan. I'm like, what? She goes, I didn't make my offer. I'm like, no! How could you not make your offer? She said, well, God and I were doing this, and this was really important. She said, and 3 people came up and wanted to work with me. 2 of them signed up for her bigger program. 1 of them signed up for something else. And 2 other speaking opportunities became offered to her. So what I love about the 10 steps is you don't even actually have to make your offer.
Wow.
Have people go, I want to work with you. How can I do that? So that's a Femme Talks little success story.
Hey, oh, thank you so much, Susan. You're such an asset to this community. I'm always so honored when you want to come back to the mastermind again and again. I'm like, yay, she likes us.
Yeah.
And we love her. I love
you guys because, you know, you're my people. You know, you're the people. The very first time I offered that talk just that way about God saying, I'll deliver you my messengers, and I'm like, I was at your event. And I'm like, here we go. Let's see how this goes.
That's like the moment where I really, like today, you know, there's partially, I'm like, you know, the chat and like technology and like, there's, you know, I'm not like in the audience, but when you said that part of the story, like I noticed like it just kind of grabbed all my attention. Just so
yeah.
What I'm gonna do, Susan, is unmute everybody since we only have a few ladies on today.
Yeah,
I know there'll be more women intending to listen to this recording, which we will post in a few weeks up on the call page. But I think I'll go ahead and just unmute all so that women who are on the phone as well can just chime in. It should
fabulous
with this number of women. So everyone's unmuted, and we have a little bit of time here for you to really ask Susan any pertinent questions. Make sure you say your name first so we know who's speaking, and go.
Go? Was that a go? Oh.
Yeah, go.
So I have a question. Who of you has a talk coming up? Anybody here have a talk coming up?
I haven't scheduled it yet, but yes.
And April?
I have one in December for Femme Talks.
Awesome. And Rayada?
And this is Rayada, and I have one in October, Femme Talks stage.
October, awesome.
Coming right up.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Rayada's talk looks amazing.
Cool. And Milena, when is your talk, or do you have one yet scheduled?
Yeah, I am in March, but I'm hoping to do some stuff a little before then.
Okay.
all right. So then I just know I'm working with speakers, because there's those people who want to be speakers, and then there's the people who are like, oh no, I got talks coming up. I'm like, okay, let's go. So what questions do you have? Anything and all things, like how to start your talk, what's a good way for this, kind of what's your talk title, any of those things I'm open for sharing thoughts on. Yeah, April.
Well, my question is, you mentioned for number 2 is asking 2 questions.
Yes.
You gave us an example of the quote, but what's the genre of questions that one would ask?
Cool. So
Oh, good.
when I have so it all depends what you're offering at the end. So let's play with you, April, since we can, because I can keep going to my things, but let's play with yours since we're in the talking mode. What's your talk title?
Well, I don't know yet because I haven't quite worked that out with Jessica.
Okay.
But
what's
in
your
general,
subject?
Yes, go ahead.
What's your subject?
Well, what the theme of the December, I believe, is around creativity and play, or bringing those things in. Is that true, Jessica?
Yes, yeah, bringing creativity and play into your life and your business as like a tool for manifestation, or yeah, something like that. we'll tighten it up during our planning call in November.
And do you know what you sell from that? Do you have a clear free consultation or something else? What are you selling from that?
I'm not exactly sure what I'll be offering in December. What I offer to people is clarity. I'm very good at helping people release clutter, and clutter isn't just physical stuff, although it can be, but it's also the thinking patterns and the belief systems and the past. So actually helping people, you mentioned landmark. So getting people to that 0 point of you're in that white room with absolutely nothing, and what do you want to create? So helping people get to the point where they can show up in the present, being pulled by what they want to create, but without any of the baggage of the past, completely free from that. And so I offer, working with me one-on-one, and those can be, it can be on any level of working on bringing that clarity and releasing.
Have you named anything of what you sell? Do you have like a package name or anything like that?
Oh, I have discovery sessions, which are the initial, but I don't have, I'm creating something called What Do You Have to Lose?
Yes. Okay, good. I love that. So just a little sidebar for the people listening. Do you see how I had to push and push and push, and then she kind of goes, well, this thing is called What Do You Have to Lose? And she kind of want to say it, right? And yet that's the part of like, oh, this is going to be good. Wait, tell me that one. This is fun. So notice the thing that you really treasure, you want to protect so you don't actually put it out to the world. And yet it's the thing where it's like, oh no, this is good. So if the talk title might be, create a future you love, what do you have to lose, or something like that, or what's the baggage you have to lose, or if what you were offering at the end was a what do you have to lose discovery session, let's discover what you have to lose. So let's give the discovery session something at least fun, because really discovery session, nobody, I don't know what. But if it was called,
I agree. I think that discovery sessions or anything you're offering, it's helpful if the title is results oriented. That's a huge mistake I see lots of women make, where it's like, no, name it.
Yes. I asked you all just a minute ago who here has a talk coming up, and I told you that Eva Gregory came to me, help, I've got a talk coming up. So I named my home study, help, I've got a talk coming up, home study, because I don't have time to work with everybody who has a talk coming up. So that's my perfect program name for my home study is help, I've got a talk coming up. Fabulous. I have a program just for you. And people are like, that's fabulous. So really, you take the words of what your people say you and you name your stuff that, and they're like, you knew I was coming. I did. So
So Susan, I gotta go back to her question, which
Yeah.
if the name of her offer is, let's say, something, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Then how do you tie that into the questions? Yeah.
So we'll play with it. It's a little awkward with a question as the title, so we'll play with it. But it's kind of like, who here would like to? Who here wants is really the question. You start with who here wants. You never ask how many of you, because it confuses the brain. You never ask, any of those things. You just want to ask who here wants, because you're wanting the answer, I want that, right? So your questions always start, who here wants what I'm about to offer you at the end. So it's who here wants to release all their baggage from the past and start fresh. Who here wants to release all their baggage in the past and start fresh, because what do you have to lose? Or who here is afraid of what they have? You'd bring something in where you actually bring the talk title in. So if I were doing Speak and Shine Your Light, who here'd like to speak? Who here'd like to speak and shine your light in a way that has people paying you thousands of dollars every time you speak? Because I'm going to offer you how to speak and shine your light. So the game is to bring what you're offering at the end into the very beginning, whether it's in the quote or it's in your 2 questions.
That's beautiful. Awesome.
It's fun because they're all like, yes, I want that. And you're like, yay, they want what I'm offering and I haven't even gotten to the end yet. Fabulous.
All right.
So,
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
Yes.
Let's try to get in a couple more questions.
Well, this is Riata, and I'm not so much that I have a question, or maybe I do, but I just really wanted to thank you for really expanding the notion of your secrets, and that's the juicy, exciting part. I'm wanting to get off the call with you so I can go write all my secrets. And, things that I don't want to talk about, because it's just something very, bad and naughty and fun and secretive about all that stuff that's appealing.
Yes.
And I really got from you in probably the first time with this level of clarity that is the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal of the human being to bring forward. And I've always been an inclusive kind of gal. I don't leave out stuff. But to actually, have that as a premier gift for people, that's kind of found a new place in me just listening to your talk. So I'm excited for what it is that you had to offer. And I love the 10 deals. Those are really, really good.
Well, I have to say, for somebody who's only listening to them, I'm like, oh, how is this translating? So thank you for that. I appreciate that it translated enough in the verbal.
Thank you.
Oh,
Rita.
it absolutely did. But I am sitting here, in my rose garden doing all of these weird signs.
Yes.
Memorize the inverted 7 over my heart. So it worked wonderfully.
Hey, Susan, I'm gonna thank you so much, Riata, for your beautiful words. I always love connecting with you in community. So thanks for being on this call, and I'm so excited for your talk on October 9th. So thank you. Thanks for bringing your positivity. Susan, I want to, we have time for more questions, but I wanted to also give you an opportunity to just tell the women how they can connect with you. I know you're part of this community, but just, you've got some awesome stuff. So just take a moment to, share whatever you want to share. And I'll also put it on the call page.
Great. So I've been kind of pondering, and I actually came to the call with several things to consider offering you, because I have a lot of things to offer, and I would love to offer you. So first off, I'm just going to type over here. There's Speak and Shine Your Light is my website, and I'm just going to put that over there. And in the speakandshineyourlight.com, you'll get to actually go to something that says Essentials. And if you go to the Essentials, you can all sign up for my kind of all the things I say you need to have to be able to write a soul signature talk that has people, that just has miracles happen. So it's the questions I ask myself, like, you know, the thing, how do you name that? Or how do I find my people? It's like, well, what are your clients actually saying to you? So all the things that I do naturally, I've written down as the essentials for you to know. So that's free. And that's truthfully, that's free on my website. So as much as it's a gift, it's an evergreen gift I'm happy to have everyone have. So if you'd like that, I highly recommend it. And I have a special thing for you because you all came on the call and Jessica is so gracious to have us all here. And I talked a little bit about my home study program of the 10 steps to I want that. And if you want help, I've got a talk coming up, help, and you can't get to me sooner. That's a $497 investment. And I want to give you it today. The code for, if you go to the home study, and I'd love to say it's working, but I tried it just before I came and the link didn't work. So this is why I'm like, oh no. So if you want that, I would love to give you access to that. And so there's a code, if you type in, when you get to the bottom, you type in honor. That gives you $400 off. So the whole thing becomes a $97 home study. Okay? Now, the thing that you're going to go, wow, 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 really about is at the end of the home study, what you get is an invitation to come to my 3-day event. And I do charge $197. Most I've ever offered so far is a $300 scholarship to that, where it's $197. And I used to do them locally, and now I'm doing them in Washington, D.C. and in Portland because that's what the pendulum says. So I'm doing those things because I listen to that kind of universe. And so what I'd like to do is just gift you those as well, because what I got was, if my people showed up on the call today and they're really my people, I don't want it to be a problem that you have to pay for airfare to come see me. So for the $97, you can get the home study and come to the 3-day event as my guest, so that you can take the other $400 and fly yourself there, put yourself up in a hotel or whatever you need to do. Because if you're my people, I want you to be able to be there.
Thank you.
So that's what I have for you today.
Can I, thank you so much, Susan. Can I, I see the speakandshineyourlight.com, that's where they get the essentials.
Yes.
Where do they go for the?
Where it goes, I'm gonna go grab it. So there's also in the speakandshineyourlight.com, you'll see it says, help, I've got a talk coming up. And that's the program. So it should be. Oh,
that's it. That's what they would go to?
That's where they would go to. And I'm going to go to, I have it here.
That's okay. I'm going to put it, I have it. It's just speakandshineyourlight.com/home study. I'll put it in the chat thing.
Yeah, that's what it's
on the webpage.
That's right. That's perfect. That was what I popped there too. So I put it, apparently I'm sending things privately to Jessica. So, but yes, you can put it on the whole group, Jessica. I'm not meaning to send it private to you, but somehow it got in a private message. So yes, that's the, let me say more privately to all. Here we go, to all. There. Now everybody gets to see. Okay, it's like magic. Okay, so that's the, and what I'm saying is right now, I tried that link and I couldn't get it to work for myself. What I promise you is I'm working it out. It looks like it should work, and then it says it doesn't go anywhere. But that's partly why I wrote down your names, because I want to make sure you each get to have that, if that's something you want.
It's working for me, Susan.
It is? Okay,
yeah,
you got
it's working for me too.
Awesome! Okay, good. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's like, no, you're the owner of this. We don't know what to do with you. Okay.
Thank
you know,
you, Susan. This is
one of the other secrets when you go to do anything is you test your links. And if they don't work, you make them work beforehand. But God just made the magic happen. Fabulous.
Thank you so much, Susan. This is
You're
awesome.
welcome.
I'm going to include this on the webpage. I know the women also have this for themselves now. Let's go ahead and answer a couple more questions before we complete.
So who's got a talk in October?
I do. It's Riata.
Rayata. So any questions you have for your talk in October? Do you know what you're offering?
Oh, I do know what I'm offering. It's your shadow as your activist. That's
Ooh,
the name of the talk. And yes, I am working on that. And I know what I'm doing with it.
great. So you call it your shadow as your activist.
Yeah, your shadow as your activist.
No wonder you're like, I'm going to go home and write all that stuff down. That's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited because the intuitiveness of the talk has already come to me, but to be able to put it into this format, check myself, you know, using your 10 steps and stuff, that's exciting. And to look at the secrets, that'll bring me some more depth. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's
excited.
great. And so the name of what you're offering at the end is your shadow as your activist, like a discovery session? Yeah. Okay. So
I'm sorry. What was that question? I mean, that's the name of the talk.
oh, okay.
And so
So
you're asking me what?
yeah, where are you sending them after your talk?
What's my offer?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have a coaching program, and I offer a package of 5, and I offer weekend workshops, and I offer a spirit quest on an annual basis in some exotic place around the world. So what I'm going to be offering them is a 6-month program at a reduced rate to come. But the real thing is for people to come and join the exotic program. That's my signature program. But what I'm offering there is an opportunity to dive deeper in a 6-month committed program at a reduced rate.
Awesome. Do we have a name for this 6-month deeper program?
No, I haven't created the name yet. It usually comes last for me.
I understand.
But I've done these 6-month programs successfully for about 10 years. So if the name comes, the name will come, and it will be, you know, relevant to the talk. But
Great.
the dive deep section on it is the real attraction.
Yeah.
So
my
and you want to go ahead.
My invitation to you before you craft your whole talk is to actually know where you're sending them, like have that name, because then all the way through your talk, you'll be talking about those words. Like, yeah. I had an idea. I knew I was going to be offering you Speak and Shine Your Light at some point in time. I also found it funny when I'm like, ooh, I can say here the Help I've Got a Talk Coming Up part. And that's kind of seeding the part that, hey, I have a talk coming up. And then when I asked you, hey, who here has a talk coming up? You all said, I do. I'm like, fabulous, because they'd really like the Help I've Got a Talk Coming Up package. So I'm just saying, when you know the name of what you're offering, it goes really well for you.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. And I'm happy to name that program if you want to test anything out right now.
Well, thank you. Name that program. That's exciting.
So do you have a...
Well, yeah, you know, it's like it usually arrives at my doorstep. I don't give it much talk, and I rarely have a dialogue about it. So this is new and fun for me.
Okay.
But the shadow, it's about the shadow. It's about getting, you know, deeper in touch with the positive aspects of both your negative and your positive shadows. And I have some really fun game kind of ways to, you know, get into what those essence qualities are and how to utilize your shadow to empower your warrior today.
Cool.
So that's,
and what do
kind of the
What do your clients say to you when they come to you and before they work with you? Like when I had Eva Gregory Help I've Got a Talk Coming Up, I then named my program that because That's what people say to me. So what do your people say to you, Rayada?
Usually I'm in a transitional mess. People
Great.
that are going through transitions and difficult times typically are the people that knock at my door and they say I'm in a transitional mess and I want to be able to sort, dive deep, and walk out with clarity in a more spiritual place on a higher level.
Okay.
Those are my people.
Yes. So I can hear.
Transitions are anything, divorce, changing jobs.
Right.
It's just transitions, women in transition.
Right. So when you said, I am a transitional mess, I want to know, like, the others on the call, could you hear it be like, oh yeah, I hear people saying that. That's like, I'm a transitional mess. And it's like, oh yes.
Yeah, that's a great phrase.
Completely hear that.
We get that. We've all been there.
And then when we add the part, I want to be able to sort, dive deep, and get clarity. I can't imagine the woman at your door saying, I'm a transitional mess. I want to sort, dive deep, and get clarity. They're like, I'm a transitional mess. Sort me out. Like, help a girl out. Like, I can see. So I want to have the actual words. When I say it, I want you to be listening for the actions. And so you have some time between now and then to hear your clients and just play with it the way they actually say it, because it's really fun. So I love that I'm a transitional mess. Could you help a girl out? That's kind of what I
like
hear.
that.
So I'm a transmissional mess. I help a girl out. Who wants that? I want that, so.
And Rayada, I think that you're also signed up to come to, I believe, the next mastermind. There's 2 coming up before your talk.
Yes.
Circles. So yeah, come and let's help you massage this. And I definitely encourage you to, also if you feel called to just hop on with Susan in some way too. So.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just stuff I like to play with where I'm like, what are the words? Give me some.
I love it. I love what you add.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Do we have time for another question?
Let's take one more and then we're going to complete.
Okay.
So any other questions from Milena or April or Lori? I like that it's a small little group today.
I know, it's fun. Everybody gets to ask and talk. Lori, you're saying you don't have a scheduled talk yet, but you want one.
Well, Jessica and I are scheduled to schedule it.
Well, Susan,
I'll get a lot more serious after that.
Susan, let me ask you this, because I would love for more of the FemTalk speakers to be out there speaking at other things as well. A lot of the women are like, have a speaking gig or 2 every month. Yeah. And then there's some that are just starting to step into having a speaking business. So do you have any tip or resource around getting speaking gigs? Because it's great practice for sure.
So I can tell you, so this last event, as I said, I had 40 people up in Portland, and up till then I'd only had 20 ever anywhere. And I'm like, ooh, 40. And it really came from speaking. I'm like, oh, I'm a speaker. What if I went out and spoke? Oh, would that be and it was just one of those moments where you're like, hey, I bet I could get some speaking gigs. What would that be like? So there's a couple places I went to speak, which was eWomen Network. And eWomen Network, you have to be a member of eWomen Network, but once you're a member, you can go anywhere in the country and be a part of eWomen Network. And I met women so the other thing I did was I was paying attention to Facebook posts, and somebody said, hey, we're looking for a speaker next week in Las Vegas at Imagination IQ. I'm like, who do I know who might do that? I'm like, oh, what if it was me? So it's another one of those where you kind of go, oh, and I jumped in, even though I thought it sure wasn't my people. I wasn't sure what I was there for. It was the most bizarre event, and yet people loved it. And I had 7 people who say they wanted to come to Portland. That was when I said I'll either be doing it in Portland or Santa Rosa, and 6 people came up and said, did you say you're going to Portland? Yeah, I guess I'm going to Portland, so anyhow. But so I spoke there, and then from that speaking gig, I got the 2 gigs up in Portland and Vancouver at eWomen Network. And truthfully, I didn't even actually speak at eWomen Network. I got a chance to speak because I was a raffle prize. So I raffled off one of my, come to my 3-day event. So then you get to talk all about your 3-day event, but you're not allowed to sell at eWomen Network, but you can talk all about your free raffle. So those times, even if you're not speaking, you show up and you speak anyway. You know, so I got to share about my raffle and the way they did it. If Jessica, I don't know if you can do this or how it goes, but if people put their raffle tickets into only what they want, you know, they have little bags in front of all the different gifts so they don't get some random thing, they get the thing they wanted. But you have them write their phone number, their name and phone number on the back of the raffle ticket. So, oh my gosh, at the end, you walk away with like 6 names or 10 names of people who all want your stuff. And it's like, how fun is that? And then you actually pick up the phone. So anyway, I'm just saying and then from there, people are like, I think you should come speak at this meeting. Yes, of course I should come speak at this meeting. You know, so I'm just saying those are how I've gotten it. Plus, clients of mine actually had their own they hosted 2 separate things up in Portland for me. So one client had 6 of her people, and another client had another 6 of her people, and those people would come to my event. So you don't have to wait for a big stage.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 5 people in your house, or you could have one of your clients say, I have some friends, and you go do that. And all those things lead to 40 people at an event.
Yeah. I agree. I have to piggyback on this before we connect, because one of my most financially lucrative speaking gigs was just a group of like 12 women, but because we could really drop in and be intimate, it's like I got a ton of signups, and it ended up not being what I was selling was so expensive, but those clients ended up signing on for this and then this and then this. Like there was more longevity in those clients than some of my other speaking gigs. So that was awesome. And also, you know, when I go out and network, I never go out and network for clients. I go out and network with the speakers who are speaking at the event, and I don't bother them, but I give them my card or get theirs and follow up with them the next week and be like, I loved your talk, and I'd love to hop on the phone and see how we can collaborate. I'm also a speaker, blah, blah, blah. And kind of sometimes we enter into really cool like cross promotion relationships. And then from there, once I have our kind of business buddies, then they totally are like happy to hook me up with summits and other speaking gigs and connecting me with this community leader and that community. Right. So I've never, I also had the experience of speaking gigs just coming to me, but it's because I'm just constantly having like tea and phone chats with these amazing ladies. So I also want to say, FemTalk speakers, you're in a community of women speakers, and come each month to the networking events if you can to, number one, watch the offers that land and don't land. And I can always, if you message me privately, I don't know, whatever. There's certain women that have like done well consistently, and it might behoove you to, network with them. But also, when you come to my networking event or any other networking event, like connect with the other speakers in an intentional, professional way, because.
So can I give one last little tip on so I don't know if you notice, but like if a speaker walks in the room and they're speaking, you kind of can feel the speaker has walked in the room. You know, like you're like, oh, there's a speaker in the room. So it's kind of like that when you've been a speaker, you walk in, and even if you're not the speaker, they kind of notice you walked in the room. So I want to give you a little secret on how to get your energy to be where you walk in the room, like people go, whoa, you walked in the room. Okay, so this is the last little, so for those of you on the phone, what we're going to do is we're going to put our hands together and rub them. So you just put your hands together and rub them really hard. You want to get the friction going, you want to get the warmth. We're right now going to grow our bubbles. Okay, so this is the game. We're going to grow our little energy bubbles, because sometimes our bubbles, we've been taught to keep them small. Now we're going to get them really big. Okay, warm. Okay, now you want to make a little snowball with your energy. Can you feel this, a little energy between your hands? You make a little snowball. Okay, now you want to turn it into a basketball. get it bigger, grow it. And then you kind of like a beach ball. And then you want to make it into like a Glenda the Good Witch bubble, where you're in the whole bubble. Okay, so did you feel your energy just expand?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so if you walk in a room with that bubble, people will notice you. You don't have to say a word. You just walk in like, hi, yes, I own this room and I'm here with you. You know, and the truth is, we can grow the bubble. So grow the bubble to fit your whole house or wherever building you're in. And we can actually grow your bubble to include everybody on this call. So I don't care where you're all living or where you're staying. So just for a moment, open your eyes and be in the presence. Imagine you're already connected. Do you feel the depth of that? You can walk around like this all day long. And the whole world will be like, hey, who are you? You're somebody special, because it's that you have that larger than life experience. So you can come back to wherever you want and go back to just being a little kid or being the small version of us. I don't mean little kid, but you know that part where we didn't know we have that ability. And you walk into a networking event like that, people will talk to you. And that's how you get speaking gigs, because you're like, oh yeah, of course. That's what I do.
I love it, Susan. Thank you so much. Oh,
it's fun.
I remember,
I like it, right?
I remember like a year ago, you gave the 10 steps in another talk, and I had notes, and then I lost them, and it was literally one of the most devastating things that has happened to me this last. That's pretty awesome to be able to say that. It was devastating. Like, I'm like, where are those? I don't understand. So I'm so happy.
To go to your home study, Jessica, talk to me. I'll make sure you get a copy of your home study, because then in the home study, you get those 10 steps in video format. So you get to watch me at every 10 steps. So you're like, I remember 1, 2, 3. I don't remember what 4 is. You just get to play 4, right? And then we explain it. And you also have all these plug and play, not exactly, but they're editable documents. So with my 10 steps basically written out, they'll ask you they'll kind of give you the lead in. Can I tell you why I'm so passionate about? And then you fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, so they're kind of fill in the blank how to help you write your talks. And awesome. It's what I've done with clients. As I said, I like the Google Docs because I like to share that stuff online. So it's just what I do where all my clients, I figured you all need to have them so that you can just write your talks and make it easy.
Yay. Thank you, beautiful.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to complete. We're perfectly right on time. So thank you all for joining on time. Thank you for being here. Susan, I'll be posting this on YouTube and on the Wisdom Call page. Yeah. And I'm going to also probably just share that we had this conversation out in our Facebook group. So women, you know, who maybe missed the emails can see that there and click over to the call page. So super awesome. I encourage you all to come back and rewatch this or parts of this, connect with Susan. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you live very soon. We've got lots of lunches and circles and networking coming up in the next couple months. So don't do it alone.
Circles when I can. I'm up in Santa Rosa, so it's a little bit of a leap, but I always have on my calendar, I'm like, can I make it?
Yeah.
So, there.
All right, beautiful.
Really enjoyed you all. And love that opportunity to see you again. And thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.